I stared blankly to the abyss of torture and fucked up soul, searching for answers as I find myself in another black hole. Unachieved goals leave me seething with my fucking incompetence. Man, I thought I'd be on the roll. I didn't mean like a roll, I just mean a roll. Lying staring at the ceiling, reeling, what a feeling is. Not really bad, but it's not really good. It's like a blanket's come down, fucking covered, smothered mood. Left us feeling misunderstood in a world filled with achievers. I was being a strong believer, you mark your own world spin. Social media paints a very nice picture hiding fucked up thoughts within. Combined with a worldly grin, got people fooled. There were lots in. I could feel edging closer to my peace of mind. A place that was once safe now was littered with the brave and malicious kind. Self-doubt is a killer of achievement, like that bereavement of one of my kin. Somehow it's nasty and needs stand out, so yeah, 2026, let's kick this fucker in. But scattered dreams, picked apart at the seams. Something it seems so possible is now deemed mission impossible. My subconscious mind unravels, travels, find myself pacing back and forth. Thoughts race at 100 miles an hour, somehow so sweet turned sour. A stagnant pool of water was once so fresh. I guess I'm like the worst enemy of myself. Always say I'll get my shit in order, but man, border on self-destruct. Can't be fucked, scared of what my future will hold. Try to live in the present, but the truth be told, I'm drawn back to the past. My memory holds vast memories so cold as my thoughts unfold. I'd fold onto paper. Ah man, what am I worrying about? Plenty of time. So I'll shoot it later. Thank you. Next one. Everyone's got an opinion on cyclists, so it's dedicated to all cyclists, especially the ones on shared cycling footpaths who like didn't move out of the way, just try and run people over. Like, it's inspired by a psychotic cyclist. It's called On Your Bike. Forget your highway code. We are lords upon these roads. Two abreast we travel, blocking Arctic loads. Doesn't use a cycle path because he's a fucking psychopath. Behind him's a tailback for like a mile and a half. As he's such a light prick because he's parking Michael Dick. Cunt goes in his way to get an Abdi's wick. I didn't even drive, but just to see these types thrive. Never on their own, hunting past the 45. 17 abreast, mate. You haven't even saw a test. On the country roads, you're nothing but a pest. You see them in Milan. I saw them on the fucking Autobahn. Spain, Belgium, Greece, and the Isle of fucking Man. Yeah, I kind of sorts that pull on the like the shots. A weekend with the chaps, exclusive ski resorts. I'm going to take a stance. Blockade the Tour de France. Ban cyclists for every road. Give the motors a chance. Give the working class a snub in the cosy Highland pub. Cut their fucking tape down the Bilsland club. Now, did I get us wrong? Because I've got a mountain bike. And I'll ride on the road anytime I like. But the difference between you and me is obvious to see because I'm a some cunt, you're a cunt times 3. If I'm on a shared path, I'll let pedestrians pass. But when it comes to you, mate, no, you just knock them on their arse. Bairns and prams, mums and great grands, nobody is safe in the lighter clad gang. Smarmy and smug, this upper class fug, a condescending look etched upon his mug. Pure dead rude, with a bad attitude, this eco-friendly travel does bear harm than good. They main cause of road rage, and I'll bet my fucking wage. The #1 culprit, well, heavy the vote of the ledge, meets with the club, 9 o'clock at the hub. Big 10:15, he's left a trail of blood. 3 dogs dead, split a baby's head, knocked an old man right in the flower bed. With an arrogant sneer, he'll no steer clear, all on his bike tent, still sheer fear. To terrorise the masses, everyone he passes, pair like your briefs in, wrap-wearing glasses, like a pirate in Venice. You're nothing but a menace, causing pure havoc on the way to play tennis. We a wheel and a spoke, running our folk, memories of sheer terror and mind you evoke. A stinger should be deployed to send you to the void. Fuck all the day with me though, mate. It's for all these people here. You're annoyed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. An authentic voice indeed. Mark, how
Came here on my bike.
How do you pronounce I in D? It's absolutely and how far does it go north of Dundee and south of Dundee?
Just,
not at all.
Just Dundee, just Dundee. It was actually formed in the jute mills because it was like when, in the noise of the jute mills back in the day, people had to shout over and it's sort of like, aye, it just came out, because you couldn't hear people, so like people just started shouting it. So I think just became I think that's like aye, something like that.
Thank you very much.
And pie is pet. Is I is I.
Right, let's look around. Maybe the Scottish champion would like to come up and do two pieces. The current Scottish National Slam champion and also the current World Series champion. It's amazing, isn't it? I've been with Biff on his travels in the last year. In fact, it's thinking it'd be really good when he finishes being champion, because then I wouldn't go on his holidays with him anymore. But we've been to, where have we been? We've been to Paris, we've been to Riga, and we've been to Berlin. You know, it's been a blast, absolute blast. A wonderful character. Come on, Biff, up you come.
Okay, yes. This is called Note to Self Before Writing a Poem. To say all things, to all people, for all time and forever, would all be a bit much. To say one thing at one time, as well as one name, for one person, once. That sounds a bit more manageable. Now, it may well be that the only one available is oneself. But that would be a very good start. One is not owed a round of applause. One could spend one's whole lifetime waiting for an audience to arrive. So, let's recap then, shall we? One thing at one time as well as one way for one person who may well be oneself. Once. And then stop. As soon as you can. People are busy, you know. And all that will be quite enough. This is a poem I wrote so I would always get an encore, no matter what. And it's called Encore. Song is sung, word is said, all good people gone to bed. I will still be wide of eye, hanging from a falling high. Rush and rise and thrilling soar, all the gods called out for more. Further hours still to go, passing across that door. Gather round and come ye all, come to catch or break a fall. Burny whiskey, beer to thee now, passing stranger, I'm king. Ease me down through afterglow, somewhere later, far below. Till the morning's land ahoy, share with me some borrowed joy. Rise to fall, I fall to stand, leap to fly and crash to land. Deeper now to break apart, down in the darkness of the heart. Every now was almost there, back again. All once more is as did seem. Word is sang, and song is dream. Tale is told and play is played. What remains of echo, fade, epilogue, reprise, once more. Afterward, refrain. Encore. Dance me one more time around, where the lost may still be found. At the last and failing sound, world already getting loud.
Thank you, Biff. That's a powerful performance, isn't it? Let me tell you a little more about Robert Burns. 1775, our man is 16 years old. His father's taken a great interest in his education. There's no formal school that he can just go along to like now, you enroll and turn up. And the local farmers, his father and half a dozen others, have employed a tutor to come and teach English, French, Latin, and this laddie doesn't do mathematics. So Burns is sent for a 10-week spell down to Kirkoswald, to study under Hugh Roger, a master of mathematics and, like many teachers, biting sarcasm too. Remember that in schools. Not allowed anymore, is it? Not in your school anyway. God, working as a teacher. Yeah, man. What a job. So Robert is sent out for 10 weeks. He's down in Kirkoswald, and Kirkoswald's a bit of a rough town. It's down beyond Ayr. You get Minishan, Kirkoswald, and then down to Turnberry. And so it's almost on the coast, a mile inland. And Burns said there's a lot of ruffians and ne'er-do-wells hanging around the town. There's a bit of smuggling coming in. This tradition of ne'er-do-wells is still the case in the area, because at Turnberry, that's where a certain American gentleman has his golf hotel, you know. And I was down in Ayr last week. I go down to Ayr quite a lot, you know. Song about that, isn't there? And I was down there and I was walking along, I bumped into the editor of the Ayr Advertiser. I happen to know the chap. And he was saying to me, it's doing okay, the internet has really obviously devastated him over the last 20 years, but he's staggering on with the printed version. But he feels that, you know, he would like to cover more world news. Yeah? I said, well, that's going to be tricky, you know, because you're a local paper, aren't you? You know, and they said, yes, everything I do has got a neighbourhood spin on it. And I said, well, you've just got to look at world news and put a neighbourhood spin on a world event. I said, you know, I've got it. I've got it. And yet, yesterday, the Ayr Advertiser came out and he sent me a photo of the front page, and it said, local hotel owner invades Greenland. Robert Burns studied hard at Kirkoswald. That's true, you know. Robert Burns studied hard at Kirkoswald, and towards in the last week though, he caught sight of the girl who lived in the house next door to the schoolhouse, and he writes, for the last 7 days, I did nothing but craze my soul and sneak outside to meet her. Robert's trigonometry was never the same again. But the thing is with Robert, he has a bad reputation with women. You know, and I'm sure he misbehaved on occasion very badly. But this girl, you know, one of his first loves, you know, we don't know what happened between them, you know. But when she married, you know, and married another bloke, 6 years later, when Robert was heading off to the West Indies and saying goodbye to everyone in the district, he went down and saw this girl and met her husband, and the girl and Robert walked the mile or so back up the road together, you know, said their Cheerios. So, you know, he's been able to have not just a sexual relationship, but, you know, a friendship with women. Shows us just another side, you know, because his behaviour, arguably at times, is bloody disgraceful. You know, but here's another side to the man. We'll move along now. Roger, would you like to come to the stage? Have you got stuff with you?
I could do something, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Roger West, everybody.
Right, this is something about Polaroids. There's a young crowd in here tonight, so maybe you don't know what Polaroids are, do you? Square photographs with a little strip underneath. They're coming back in fashion. Like gentle herpes and septics. So this is about a Polaroid I once saw with two people, I don't know who they were, and underneath somebody's written, someone and me. I awoke from someone else's dream. Nothing is ever quite what it may seem. I inhabited someone else's life. I put his kid through college, I made love to his wife. Caption on that Polaroid reads, someone and me, though the image far too faded now to see who that may be. In everything you work for, everything you sought, in your deepest dark desires, in your last unconscious thought, in the way that you say it, and the thing that you say, my home is in your very bones. I am your DNA. Mud sinks to the bottom. Scum rises to the top. My ID's in that IV. don't waste a precious drop. 2 electronic heartbeats on the monitor screen. The one that was never there, the one that might have been, the splitting of the atom, the splicing of the gene, and then I awoke from someone else's. I'm a big fan of that very, very kind of, I mean, people do sonnets and triolets and villanelles and things like that, but what about the lyric? What about the lyric? And why has nobody ever written a lyric about lyric? I have. There once was a young man from Limerick who said to his friends there in Limerick, "No one's written a limerick about the city of Limerick because there's nothing that rhymes with Limerick." Then he thought for a moment, he said, "Apart from Slim of a Prick."
Thank you. There was a young man from Timbuktu whose lyrics stopped at line 2. Always possible, isn't it? Okay, just going through the list, I'm putting a list together of everybody I think I've got on the list. Who would like to go up next? I was going to ask Kat to go up next. Kat, would you like to go up?
I'm a wee bit rough today, but...
Do you want to get more time? Speak on later on?
Okay.
Speak on later. No problem. In that case, Sam Steele. Sam's a visitor from Birmingham. Please give him a big round.
Thank you, everybody. So this isn't a slam, so I don't have to do the poems I was planning, yes?
No, you don't. You can do
Excellent.
whatever
So
you
I
like.
do showcase poems, yes?
Yes.
Excellent. This first poem, I'm not very good. Can you tweak it? I'm trying to do more social media stuff. I need to get some content for social media. Right. You said I'm up from Birmingham. Technically, I live in Inverness, but my partner's from Birmingham, so I travelled up today to do the slam. So where do I send my bill? Because it's not a slam anymore. Right. So this is kind of my showcase. What's the word for it? Not showcase. The poem everyone knows that I do. Yeah. We've been recognised in Birmingham, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Inverness, and now Edinburgh, because I did the slam, so I did the Fringe twice last year, and 2 people came up to me later and said, "You're the guy who does the toucan poem, aren't you?" This is the toucan poem. It's a mono-rhyme, but it's actually written to see how many times I can squeeze the same syllable into a poem. It's called, "If a toucan, who can with a crow?" Can a toucan do the can-can? Well, you might think the answer no, but I thought that I could teach one, so I thought I'd have a go. If a toucan can do can-can, could he can-can in a show? And then I heard a story of a can-can kicking crow. Now my toucan learned to can-can, but it only can-can slow. Then I bought my bird a buddy, which was, of course, the kicking crow. If a toucan who can can like the kicking crow, I like to see them can-can kicking in a little row. Well, it appears the can-can kicking crow can kick, but only low. Ironically, although a birdie suffers vertigo. So, can the crow who likes the can-can kick the can-can low and slow with the can-can kicking toucan? Well, who doesn't want to know? Now, they must have the legs for this. If they are to show off in a show, musty mustard, said the toucan, and lots of little bows. The crow could not tie, and other ideas of brightly coloured sequins, and he wanted them to glow. Now, how to introduce them? A good name I should bestow. I thought of something simple like Kicking Crow and Buddy Joe. No? Toucan Joe and a sequin wearing crow. No? Got it. Can kicking toucan Joe is sequin sidekick kicking crow. Yeah. Now, if I have a flimsy tin can I add that to the show? Or can a toucan who can kick a thin tin to the crow, if the crow can do the can kick a thin tin low and slow? I must admit they couldn't, the idea was a no-go. Then I had a little ponder, because I'm clever, don't you know. I could maybe paint the tin cans like the sequins in the show. Well, I can't explain the logic of the toucan and the crow, but the can kicking duo had little eyes that were aglow. So there you have it, everyone, their apocryphized combo. Can-can kicking Toucan Joe with secret psychic kicking drum. It's a toucan who can and who loves to wear a bow. If you slow can kick and think tin to crow with the floating bow. Plus, a seeking wearing can crow who can if it's slow, and a tin can that a can kick is printed by data. So come and see the show. Thank you. Get another one, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Right, I've always been trying to win slams for ages, and I only ever got to the final once, which is the first one I ever did. So I tried my best poems, my best performed poems, my funny poems. This one I was going to do my sad, serious poems, thought we'd tug a few heartstrings. So this is.
Wouldn't work here, mate.
Okay. This is what's most fun, isn't it? This is one of the ones I was going to do. Technically, it's a love poem, really, but there's death involved. It's called "I Wish You Were Here." The air is crisp and clear, there's only blue skies here. Mostly it's the French northern coast. The lights are always green, the reddest roses ever seen. The real thing's so much better than the books. The crocuses all bloom from August until June. The grass can somehow cut itself each day. And dictionaries have no need to include a word like weed. The gardens are immaculate displays. Lots of golf I get to play, several birdies hit today. The way I play, I'd even take on Seve. And my serve is like a pro. I get 3-set McEnroe. I've mastered both the backhand and the volley. So many books I've read in the biggest, softest bit. Lots of authors made it up here, by the way. And I tell you, it transpires that you can never tire. There's a chance to lie in every single day. There's no snow on the ground, well, unless skiers all around, and 3 new colours feature in the double rainbows. There are no ticks and fleas. There are no stinging bees. And hell, of course, it's taken the mosquitoes. The music here is great, and every night we stay up late. You know, it's more than just a trumpet and a horn. And Gabriel's a hoot when he ad-libs on the lute. And for shows, he dresses up like Ozzy Osbourne. The Wi-Fi is 7G, there's no adverts on TV. The remote can never find a place to hide. The IT here is great, you should see him innovate. You remember, Steve Jobs is on this side. Now, it sounds just like perfection, so I guess I didn't reckon that being here is where I would belong. It's a super neighborhood, almost everything is good. But for me, there is one major thing that's wrong. It's obvious my love, you fit in like a glove, but I hope it's not too soon that you'll appear. You have so much life to live, and so much more to give. But this place will not be heaven until you're here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How's the scene in Birmingham these days? Do you know Squaws?
Squaws name doesn't ring a bell.
His name's Esposito, calls himself Squaws. Also, who's the chap from Milton Keynes, Big Mark Neal? Come across him?
No.
Oh, I used to travel down there 4 or 5 times a year to take part in events, you know, around Birmingham, Warwick, and then Cheltenham sort of area. I realised after a while, though, taking part in slams at that distance, that sometimes it was quite brutal because you didn't get 2 goes. I invented that. You come up and do 2 poems. That's Glasgow rules. And the reason I did was because after driving bloody Birmingham back, I had got there, at 6 o'clock, had a quick bite in the subway, got to the venue at 8 o'clock. I was first on. I had 3 minutes. About 7 minutes passed. Practically on my way back to Glasgow, So I travelled something like 800 miles, 700 miles, and the carbon footprint of my poetry was really hefty, At that point, I thought I'll rein in the horns and stick to local events.
You're forgetting the sleeping in Bilsland above the pub.
Oh, there's a pub in Bilsland. We stayed in one. What a place! And it's like the only punk pub in the Midlands, So I mean, you'll have the guy from the adverts was playing there one night, What was his name? Remember the adverts? Well, anyway, he's still out there doing this bloody punk. Or 10-Pole Tudor, the last remaining member, would be playing there, And we're in the bedroom right above it. And it's nice to hear those old tunes again, but not until 3 in the morning. Okay, Emma Claire Brightland is with us. Emma Claire, please, come up. And give her a
Thank you. I didn't know I'd have this lovely opportunity to share something, so it's on my phone, which I also never do. I appreciate your grace in that. but I'm going to read two poems about love in the best vein of looking at birds. And that his best vein was looking at his love and maybe not his actions around it. There you go, sorry. Yes, thank you for your patience as I find this. Great. The first one was written gosh, about exactly a year ago, when incredibly good friends of mine were made to leave this country because their visas weren't renewed. And they lived in a little village that we live in, and their wee one was the same age as our wee one. My little one's first real friend, and a very dear mum friend of mine. And they had to move back to India. And so this is called When Helping Friends Move Because They Are Not Allowed to Stay. Love is a many-vesseled thing, not limited to a muscle encased by a cage of bones and a breast. Love's mercurial shape can take more states than water, finding home in plates and dishes, as well as kisses and wishes. In a piano, once sat in a corner, thumped upon by our children in melody-free excitement. Now at home, upstairs in a tenement, where a musician will possibly feel the incitement to thump away with joy in a melody-full commitment. In a dehumidifier, now living with a fiddle player, and offering her the major favor for lungs and strings and notes on paper, some protection in a place where winter and summer do not discriminate the level of rain shower. In a standing desk, which held up work, for a job merged into redundancy, resulting in illegitimacy according to a visa renewal policy, now being a germination place for poetry. And connections between these vessels and the love they hold may seem invisible, as possessions are sold because a government has told a family of neighbors and playmates and kindred spirits all rolled up into 3 bodies that they must fold up their lives and go. So, let's sew up a magic net to protect as much of the perfect love. And perhaps we'll detect that this is to collect this love for us too, so it isn't lost, not yet, but spread and shared and given layers and laced with prayers, that all who touch it become aware of how much they matter. Great. This poem is called Underwater. You hold deep your breath. You squeeze tight your eyes and maybe freeze tight a little. Or panic you might a little, or just pause before you realize. You have to get your head up to the air again, to wipe your face and see again, to pull your arms and kick your feet and move again. We love being in the water, my kids and I. But underwater remains a scary place, still an unknown space that my toddler is learning to play with. And I help her know to hold and to squeeze, and the surface will be there. And soon she can play with her sister to dive and to splash and to explore there. But she knows and I know that underwater is not a place where you ever want to get caught. Suddenly now, the world makes me feel underwater, caught underwater. What is the air going to be when I surface? What am I going to see when I surface? Will I be able to move again if I surface? If I surface, because I feel caught, stuck. And my heartbeat is loud in my ears as my soul and my head are filled with fears of how there is such judgment of that land over there and what they force women to wear, and not anywhere near enough judgment for them. who are deciding what happens to the bodies of women, and people who are having babies or trying to have babies, or have just had a collection of cells in their bodies that they don't want, or they can't hold, or they didn't ask for, who are being told they don't have a choice about what happens next. I hold my breath for my queer friends, my trans friends, my anything other than straight and cis friends, whose mere existence will require persistence to build resistance from becoming an instance of violence. After so many lifetimes of hard-lived progress, to be dropped into a future looking like a lawless wilderness, and they don't have the choice about what happens next. I squeeze my eyes and hope that saints and gods and protective powers throw their arms around my friends with skin or origins or passports or religions who are not deemed right, meaning mostly that they aren't white, who are just humans trying to live a good life with kids and families, who don't deserve the edge of a knife or a cage or a wall or a raid in the middle of the night and no choice about what happens next. And what is going to happen next? What is going to happen now? For me? For mine? For them? Well, I'm stuck here, caught in this frozen panic. Pause. Hold. Squeeze. Reach for the voices above saying, listen, this is a time for action, for movement, for the biggest love we can access. Pull, and kick, and move, and fight towards the surface. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma Claire. I see he's busy scribbling away his next piece of work that Steve Ashton. Please give Steve Ashton a welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm in awe of those people who remember the words of all their poetry. I can't do it, mainly because I'm writing all the time, as Robin's just observed. And if I try to remember a poem I wrote yesterday, I'll forget the one I wrote last week and the two that I wrote the month before that. This is an old one. It's called Doggy Doings. A doggy did his doings on the steps of Downing Street, the sort of mess that sticks on shoes when trod by human feet. Surveillance was disabled before the dastard deed, so no video existed showing which dog had gone and peed, and worse, upon the doorstep of the PM of the land, a steaming pile of dog poop waiting there for him to stand. The PM went ballistic and instructed MI5 to arrest all dogs in Britain or make them unalive. It was obvious that the police didn't have a single notion. They just stood upon the lowest step going through the motion. A team of high-priced Dobermen were asked... A team of high-priced Dobermans. A team of high-priced German attack dogs were asked to have shit on the doorstep of the country's highest help. Of course, they made no progress. The evidence was gone. Street cleaners had been cleaning, and now the doorstep shone. Forensics found no clues, no prints or DNA, but then a clever canine thought to try another way. A friend's lick team assembled, and the bloodhounds had a sniff, and the suspect list was narrowed by a very royal whiff. A dog that fed on caviar and eggs that came from quails. The innocent canines were all released from Britain's jails. It wasn't hard to figure where the finger now should point. Royal corgis were arrested and slammed up in the joint. The identity parade was the first one of its kind. Instead of matching faces, they were smelling dogs' behinds. Dog E was clearly... Dog E, not doggy. Dog E was clearly guilty, as the witness dogs all woofed as they sniffed that doggy's arsehole, so the corgi, he was cuffed. So the dog E from the palace was taken to the court, and all the national media carried but a single thought. The hound was clearly guilty. He was going to be jailed, and the prosecution made demand that the dog must not be bailed, because his owner had a history of evading national law. And if justice isn't equal, then what are law courts for? But an expert in the protocol was called to do his thing, and insisted that no dog poop could be picked up by the king. And the lawyer acting for defence lodged plea in mitigation, said the corgi, but reflected on the feeling of the nation. So the judge admonished Dog E, warned him not to do again his doings on the doorstep of the man in number 10. And the Prime Minister resigned that night from a podium in the street. A large police Alsatian came and peed upon his feet. Thank you. This is one of my more serious ones. Make them laugh, make them cry, make them laugh. So this is the angry one. The skeletons come splashing from the cold, dead sea. Determined, as they were in life, that they should all be free, they crawl unsteady up the beach, hoping they could finally reach a place where they'd find peace at last, without the fear of missile blast, without the fall of bombs each night, without the snipers firing in the early morning light, without the empty bellies gnawing hunger every day, and without the mortal fear for any kids let out to play. They stagger up the wave-washed sand, relieved at last they've reached our land, but the ghouls greet them with hatred and with cold, dead hearts. They're told that they're not welcome, they don't belong around these parts. We can make and sell the missiles to obliterate their towns, we can make and sell the bombs that fall to knock their buildings down, we can make and sell the bullets to shoot them in the streets, and we can sit down to 3 meals a day and always stuff to eat, but we lack the good humanity to extend a helping hand to the poor bedraggled victims who come crawling up the sand. We scowl and rain our hatred. It really isn't fair. We can't send back where they came from, because that place isn't there. The places that once they loved and lived are wastelands now, no more. And that is why the skeletons are crawling up our shore, seeking simple refuge, some shelter from the storm, a place they can escape the fear, eat and sleep, stay warm. But the ghouls from mainstream media, and most MPs as well, keep saying we don't want them, they can all go back to hell, but their hell is what we made it with the weapons that we sell. It's turned their paradise to dust. It's the ghouls who go to hell.
Thank you, Steve. And now we'll invite Cat Cochrane, who's now ready to perform for
There's this one nation on dear Mother Earth where young Coca-Cola is the target on earth. Cannibal draft, it really doesn't matter. Do my gullet or what honey, do a gold carburetor. Flat and warm, fit a roll on the side. Well, absolute nectar, do my throat take away. Serotonin, dopamine, fair ginger whiz, Gaviscon handy, for your essence. Your dulcet taste makes me all a bit quiver. I didn't even ask, but you're doing my work. So come out to play with my girders, you wee fanny. Like same canola foam, with measurements akin to Oppenheimer, we'll make your own atomic bomb. Now there's certain things that don't compliment me, like vodka, Malibu, ice cream and kimchi. If I had a penny for every morning you saved me, because I made my luck because in the fridge over the night before I had lain me and doing a ditch I know it's alive. Only I am going to choose to keep me alive. See, I've got the gift, telekinesis, can spot you abroad and amongst all the masses. What to find a can of blue Spain. 5 o'clock is the only shame. So I've quaffed you, I've guzzled you, moved you down all my life, and never a day between me trouble or strife. And blessed be, the moment came true, and for a can machine for £1, fell it to you! I clear rib plays, blue metal tap, your girders do rock, and never your last crap. It's fair play to see, you're going nowhere than me, because we get the differences forever. Cheers!
Open that one for us.
Last time I did it, when I really on Gordon was the one who was on it. Too much respect. Carotid lateral, carotid lateral force. You need lens, Hutchison, Robertson's and second. For the saviour of my soul, send me Elvis impersonators, leather waistcoats, burgundy handicaps. I sees you driving around in your Tesla thinking you're saving the world. The toxic air and a few breathalyzer. Sees us top deck in the over 29 on the East Coast for a cheeky and stuff. Can we interrupt your view in a Kanye West getting his blue tip that to give you life-size charity laptops, chained up inside shops, and one focus can die at the bottom of a deep man fire? I'll take your double drip disposables and raise you 20 beds and hedges and both the bank and bring me ivory double dark Kensington coupons, Calgary selection packs with the name. They'll see in the life promises we made and hosted hell for the days when it was your law that suit you on. Fabulous lady ever. Can we be cool where boobs or tubes or flag or blues or pube shot upper lip just for one day? Push the thongs to the back of the door. This is a mission for David Glassy Nichols with Thompson Glassy. Get yourself wedged between two plants and rusty nails, cutting skin, scale scratch eyelids. Wading through custard to the point you've stopped a cell in. I want to see your nap, my ready to break low. An infallible body shield repelling all the low-flying wax stains you see below. And see that door stuck in front of you? Kick the hinges off it with your size 5 PMs. No need for dirty D40. Life squeezed you up and uphill. The Cosmos knocked 6 tons of shite out of you since you cannot mind when, but now's not the time to be counting the whips of life's long sleeping. Can we lift our voices louder than more? Clip the long levers, cut white tongues unsealed. There'll be more of us than that of them. Can we switch off the blue blasting light up on our face? Unscrew the loop of perpetual unease before we're being stepped out of bed? Can we see if we asking a woman in the street if she has cancer? Stretch our minds to the nose, but her hair is shot by a good choice. Can we undress our garments with heat for the underfed boy who stitched our linings in far-off underboxes? Can we take a chance on love? Favour, rejection, or regret? Somebody kisses and says about a wrist and a snowstorm about but most of all, can we get inside Bintoe? You know the habit of 23 you can conjure 46 Vickies now, waving in the air. Hey Fox, eat sunset. Thank you.
Okay, just a little more, a wee brief thing about Robert Burns. 22 years old, 1781. Robert has left the family farm. The family farm never does well. They didn't do well down in Alloway, they didn't do well at Mosgiel or Lochleigh. And so he's left the family farm and gone down to Irvine to live for a year. His brother Gilbert, his young brother, and Robert have taken over 2 fields and grown flax. And that's in the business down in Irvine of heckling flax. Heckling flax is, well, what do you get from flax? You get, I asked this last night, I get 6 answers. You get linseed oil, right? And you get linen eventually from it. His heckling is stripping off the part of the plant that you don't need, leaving you with a valuable bit. So it's a business, you're chopping away, with special tools at these rough plants. It's a hard work thing. And so Robert's down there doing that, just trying to make some money, because for all his reputation with women, Robert really wanted to get married as a young man to solve the problem of being a randy bugger, And but none of the local lassies would have him. He was good looking, he was witty, he was pretty well educated, as best as his father could afford. But he didn't have any money. And the girls, it wasn't that they were being snobby about it, they had to look out for themselves. You wanted to marry a bloke that could at least offer you some sort of prospects of a decent life and decent food and a roof over your head. Robert didn't have that prospect. And that's what let him loose, That's why he went into his middle 20s, his late 20s, and became a libertine, something in my opinion, because he didn't marry young when he wanted to. And so he's down in Irvine, but the whole thing goes up in smoke. Robert writes that at New Year we were carousing, me and my business partner, who made money by the mystery of thieving. So he's a bit of a crook, he doesn't like that for one thing. And while they were carousing at New Year, due to the carelessness of the fellow's wife, he blames the woman in this one. I don't think this is very, very good. He blames, while we were carousing, due to the carelessness of the fellow's wife, our workshop burnt to the ground, and I was reduced to the proper estate of a poet next to sixpence. So Robert is learning a valuable lesson in life. Poets are born, not paid. And that, I think I'm going to introduce a former Scottish champion, Gordon POWRIE. Up he comes.
Thanks, Robin. Okay. So, I've had the pleasure and the privilege to be able to travel abroad, and I had a wee shot at the Europeans, and one of the judges, Slovakian, a lot of great renown, spoke to me afterwards and said, I really love your stuff. He said, you're really funny, you're really witty, you're a great performer, you do all that sort of thing, but it's really important, to be honest, that Islam it's got to be social justice. If you're not telling your poet social justice, you're not getting a score off me. Now, your first instinct, as a creator, as an artist, don't fucking tell me what you fucking do. Pretty good. You know what I mean? He maybe had some points. He had his opinion, I had. So, okay. So somebody once told me that a slam poem should have a moral. It should be something allegorical, and so I wrote the following. Don't step on the cracks. Little Timmy was terrifically excited about torture. Little Timmy imagined himself a nemesis of epic proportions. To the hordes of minuscule minions forced to flee before him, Timmy imagined himself a god, toying with the tiny people of his imagination, their screaming faces played by a literal insect nation. Oh, he would too frequently smite the poor blighters, with magnified light and hairspray and lighters and flaming barbecue briquettes ignited. He was frightening. Timmy's dad was concerned. And he thought he might reason with Timmy on grounds of compassion for all the living things of our interconnected web of birth and life and death and unbroken chain of mystery that could be traced back through all history to the first living thing that was mother to us all. So we should resist the urge to kill one and all, because logically every living thing is in fact our own kin. Timmy wasn't buying it. And while maintaining defiant eye contact, pressed a malevolent foot to a patrol of ants. Trapped between the safety of cracks, the no man's land, the plain grey pavement slabs, the ants went splat. Timmy's dad, in a moment of madness, blurted out, "Don't step in the cracks or the sharks will attack." Timmy looked his dad dead in the eye and whispered in a voice malevolently defiant, "Bring on the sharks then, you daft." Timmy raised his foot theatrically and brought it down crashing directly on the cracks of raised revealed 5.5 ant squash flat, and Timmy laughed. But behind Timmy rose, as if from the oceans, not stones, the enormous face of a great white shark. Unbelievable, I know. This huge beast's head hung suspended for a second, framed by the sun setting, the cone of its nose peeking just beyond the circumference of the glorious orange orb, descending majestically into the bronze vast horizon, gently. Then the shark snapped up Timmy in half, and disappeared again below the waves of the slabs, leaving only Timmy's little legs, adorned by little shoes. Those shoes adorned by little legs and bodies and heads of the insects Timmy killed without mercy or regret. Yes, now Timmy's dead, but he really was a bad egg. So I guess the best would be if we all just learned a lesson from Timmy's death, even if it doesn't make any sense. Don't step on the cracks, or the sharks will attack. Okay, one of the great benefits of being able to go abroad and see other poets is seeing different cultures and different things. The biggest thing that I took from it is that the things that I like, if you've seen me perform, you know I like horror, you know I'm keen to go zombies and blood and cannibalism.
There's always that.
There's always a bit of that, isn't there, right? And what was really reassuring was that I've been to Paris and, you know, I've been to Slovakia, I've been to Mexico, and nobody else has been, you know, poems about horror and stuff. So I'm leaning into that. It's not a thing to win a slam, but it's what I like, right? Okay? So, This one's called Total Integration. Paul was smitten when he saw written the announcement of the century. The Evolution 2.0 is coming this Christmas. New upgrades are now available with total integration guaranteed. This is the next step in human evolution. Paul was a technophile, obsessed with the latest modelling style. Never satisfied that outdated Oakland products and ordering everything out of the ordinary groundbreaking experimental data mods were his favourite, and he could not be sated. Nobody knew where the Evolution 2.0 originated, but with the marketing campaign this slick and the outlandish claims they were making, outrageous demand was created and Paul was fixated. The world and Paul held their breath for launch. And they were delighted. They loved their new devices, integrated into every part of their lives. They'd never known anything like this. New upgrades are now available, with total integration guaranteed. This is the next step. The latest update started simultaneously on every continent and in every nation. Total integration mode was activated. The human race was ready to be upgraded. The Evolution 2.0, in 1 and 2 hands across the globe, were brilliant white and pulsated in a localised crimson stone, while web-fed wire and electrode probes buried themselves under the holder's skin and the network took control. And then the flesh began to stretch, go red and thin and see-through. A bustling mass growing under the skin, distending sinew in every direction, the tissue wrenching and teaching a lesson that even people have seams, it seems. And the probes kept twitching and the skin kept stretching, and eventually the true horror was revealed. An infinity of minuscule alien android spiders began to leak from the mouth, the nose and eyelids of Paul and the half of humanity that rushed out to buy it, and still inside they spawned and divided until all flesh was rent by their reproductive violence. Paul blinked through 10 trillion eyes in sync. His diamond hard arthropod bodies vibrate as his newly optimised decentralised cortex received directly new notifications. New upgrades are now available with total integration guaranteed. This is the next step in human evolution.
Thank you very much, Gordon. I probably propose that we take a break there. We're just over an hour, that'd be a good thing. And afterwards, I've got 2 poets we haven't spoken yet, Chris and Donna. So you'll do 2 poems, and then we'll go round again doing 1 poem each, eh? And we'll finish by 5 or 10 past 4, hopefully. So, I will just say though that when I came along here today, last couple of days, I felt quite isolated, you know? But now I feel much more, I'm among friends. Thank you.